Heartwarming warning, Janitor's daughter exposes Bodyguard Sabotage Millionaire's life at stake. Mia, the janitor's daughter, stood in the hallway, her worn-out sneakers scuffing along the polished floors as her father finished wiping the last of the trophy cases. She gazed at the gleaming awards, each a testament to the dreams of kids who the world deemed worthy of attention. Despite the fluorescent lights flickering overhead, there was a soft glow in her heart, an ember of hope that whispered college was in her future. But often, she felt as invisible as the dust bunnies lurking in the corners of the hall unnoticed, surrounded by the laughter of the wealthy elite. As they mopped and polished, she overheard snippets of conversation that pulled her from her thoughts. "Did you hear about the charity gala this weekend?" A voice chimed, echoing through the empty corridor. "You know the millionaire throwing it? They're saying his bodyguard has a plan to ruin it." Mia's heart raced. The gala wasn't just a dance, it was a lifeline for those in need. She peered around the corner, catching glimpses of impeccably dressed students, oblivious to the real world just outside their bubble. With her father's tired face etched with dedication from years of hard work, Mia knew how much their family relied on integrity. She wasn't naive to think that exposing corruption was easy. The weight of her discovery felt heavy on her shoulders. She wanted to do something, but at what cost? "Ma, you should have seen it," one of the popular girls exclaimed, her laughter piercing through Mia's thoughts. Such joy, such privilege. What would it be like to be seen by them, to feel that lightness? A week later, the evening sky began to blush pink as the gala approached. Amid the stress of cleaning and her mom's unexpected return, Mia found unexpected support from her family. Conversations with her mother sparked flickers of healing, a bond tentatively reforming after years apart. But hope turned to tension as whispers of the bodyguard's sabotage grew, shadows creeping closer like predators. Mia felt trapped, torn between protecting her family and saving others. Moments blurred as she approached the night of the gala. Her heart pounded like a drum in her chest, louder than the music that filled the air. The lavish decorations, balloons floating like dreams, masked the danger lurking beneath. Mia glanced at the crowd, bubbling with excitement, unaware of what could unfold. With each tick of the clock, her resolve strengthened. This was not just her fight, it was for the community her parents had cherished. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The gala's atmosphere shifted as Mia took a breath, the decision weighing heavily on her. Would she speak out, risk everything and possibly face retaliation from the bodyguard? Just as the microphone crackled, her fingers trembled on the edge of the podium, uncertainty slithering through her. The crowd was cheerful, unaware of the dangerous secrets cloaked in the night. What would happen next? Mia's future and the lives of many hung in the balance. Would she find her voice, or remain shackled by fear? The moment flickered, and the truth awaited a champion. Mia's heart raced as the microphone crackled again, the sound piercing through the muffled laughter and conversations in the grand hall. Each second felt like an hour. She couldn't back down now, not when everything she had worked for and everything her community needed was at stake. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts. The crowd swelled with anticipation. Heads turned, and the noise faded into a hushed murmur. She could feel the weight of their eyes on her, curious, judgmental, maybe even a little nervous. But they weren't aware of the truth lurking just beyond the glimmering lights, and she had to change that. Excuse me. Mia's voice, though shaky, carried through the hall. I need to tell you something important. A few people exchanged glances, while others leaned in closer, intrigued. Mia's heart pounded against her ribs like a warning drum. I know many of you are excited about tonight's gala, but I've overheard plans that could jeopardize everything this event stands for. Her throat felt dry, and she briefly glanced at her father, who stood just outside the crowd, concern etched across his face. A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Alarmed whispers filled the air, and Mia pressed on, driven by the memories of her father's late nights and the sacrifices her mother made to keep the family afloat. The bodyguard, the one hired to protect the host, is looking to sabotage the charity tonight. She blurted, wondering if her words would matter at all. Shock painted the faces before her, but before anyone could respond, a tall figure emerged from the crowd. The bodyguard himself, muscle-bound and imposing, moved towards her, eyes narrowing as they locked onto hers. "What nonsense is this?" His voice was deep, and it spurted authority with a hint of menace. "You shouldn't be spreading lies." Mia's heartbeat quickened. Would they believe her? Would they see her as just the janitor's daughter trying to stir trouble? But something deep inside her, the very hope she clung to, ignited, fueling her courage. "It's not a lie. You're here to ruin the night meant to help families like mine." The audience fell silent, all eyes shifting between Mia and the bodyguard. She could feel sweat forming on her brow, but she pressed on, each word a step toward the unknown. "This community deserves better. We have a chance to change lives here." Murmurs erupted again, but this time they were filled with a mix of outrage and confusion directed at the bodyguard. He stepped closer, his imposing figure casting a long shadow over her smaller frame. "You don't know what you're getting into, kid. You're in over your head." Mia felt the heat of his words, but she stood firm, fueled by the support of her newfound family and community. "Maybe you're right," she said, her voice steady. "But if I don't speak out, and something happens tonight, I won't be able to live with myself." Suddenly, a spotlight swung towards them, illuminating the tension in stark relief. A figure stepped forward, Tom, the millionaire host, eyes wide, disbelief coursing across his features. "Is this true?" he called out, his voice cutting through the noise. "Are you trying to sabotage my gala?" The crowd shifted, expectantly watching, breaths held who would take the next step. Mia's stomach churned as she grappled with the implications of her actions. The room felt electric, as if fate itself were hanging on the edge of that very moment. What would Tom decide? Would he believe her? Mia could sense that the crab of tension had tightened around her entire future, the lives of many, and all she could do was hope. Would the truth come to light, or would shadows swallow the night? The air was thick with unanswered questions, teetering on the brink of resolution. Tom paused, staring at Mia, his brow furrowed with confusion and disbelief. The room held its breath, seconds stretching out like an eternity. As the bodyguard crossed his arms, a scowl formed on his rugged face. But Mia could see a flicker of doubt in Tom's expression. That flicker was her lifeline. "Everyone, please," Tom finally spoke, raising a hand for silence. "Let us hear what she has to say." The crowd was still, phones forgotten, eyes trained on Mia. Mia's breath hitched. This was her moment, and she couldn't let fear take over. "I overheard him last week," she began, her voice stronger this time. "He was talking about how easy it would be to ruin tonight, how no one would see it coming." As she recounted what she had heard, the murmurs in the crowd grew louder. The bodyguard shifted, but Mia pressed on. "People here tonight are not just generous, they're hopeful. They're looking to change lives, to help families who struggle. You can't let anyone undermine that." Tom's face darkened as he took a step back, glancing between Mia and the bodyguard, who was now shifting uncomfortably, clearly trying to mask his anger. "Is this true?" Tom's voice was firm now, directed at the bodyguard. "Have you been planning something?" "I don't have to stand here and take this from a kid," the bodyguard snapped, but Tom wasn't backing down. "Your job is to protect this event and the people at it. If you've betrayed that trust, you're out." Tom's voice was cold, every word slicing through the tension like a knife. The crowd erupted in a mix of gasps and murmurs. Mia let herself breathe a little easier. Had she really done it? But uncertainty fluttered back in her stomach. The bodyguard turned to Tom, eyes blazing, his authority crumbling under scrutiny. "You don't know what you're doing, Tom. You're risking everything. He barked, a desperation creeping into his tone. Mia didn't miss the worry creeping into Tom's expression. Maybe. But I'm more interested in protecting what we have here than what we could lose. The bodyguard narrowed his eyes, stepping closer to Mia. You think you've won? People like us, we don't just walk away. You have no idea what you're up against. Tom stepped between them, his presence radiating power. Stay away from her. This is not how we handle things here. With the crowd watching, Mia felt the weight of their gaze. She faced down someone threatening everything she cared about. Now she could almost hear their hearts in unison with her own, and then, there was silence. The kind that seemed to echo all around them. Let us continue this night in peace, Tom commanded, turning back to Mia, a hesitant smile breaking across his face. Thank you for speaking up. A wave of relief washed over Mia. She hadn't just spoken for herself, she'd spoken for so many others. But the bodyguard's threats lingered like the faintest, coldest shadow, a chill that wouldn't just fade away. As the crowd applauded, the realities of the evening sank in. Mia felt a mix of triumph and anxiety. She'd exposed someone's plans, but the danger wasn't over yet. Clutching the microphone, she wondered if the fight was only beginning. What will happen next? She questioned herself, heart pounding. Would they find a way to secure the night? Would she truly keep her community safe? In the distance, the bodyguard's figure loomed, plotting, waiting. The next chapter awaited, and Mia knew she had to prepare for whatever came next. Mia's heart raced as the applause faded, replaced by a low hum of conversation that felt like a swarm of bees. She could feel every eye still on her, but the bodyguard's presence was an oppressive weight in the air, making it hard to breathe. Tom's reassuring nod did little to quell the storm inside her. Are you okay? He whispered, standing closer to her. His expression was a mix of gratitude and concern, but Mia could also see a flicker of fear there. She shook her head slightly, unsure of her own feelings. What if he's right? She murmured. What if this isn't over? Tom's lips pressed together, his brow furrowing again. We'll manage. Let us focus on the event. Get everyone back to their tables. We can't let this ruin the night. There was a determination in his voice that made her feel safer, even if the shadow of the bodyguard still loomed large. As the crowd dispersed, Mia could sense the lingering tension. Laughter bubbled in some corners, but others exchanged worried glances. It was supposed to be a night of hope and charity, yet here she was, having exposed darkness in what should have been a celebratory atmosphere. Excuse me. The voice cut through her thoughts, snapping her back. The bodyguard was approaching again, his demeanor cooler now, but the anger still simmered beneath his surface. You think you're a hero, Mia? He sneered. You've only made the targets bigger, and I won't let you ruin my plans. Before she could reply, Tom stepped forward, clenching his jaw. You're not welcome here. Your time is up. The bodyguard's laugh was chilling. You really believe that? There are deeper forces at play here than you understand. I suggest you both watch your backs. This isn't just about tonight. It never was. With that ominous warning, he turned and walked away, leaving a cold emptiness in his wake. Mia hoped she wouldn't see him again, but dread settled in her stomach. What had she really unleashed? Tom looked back at her, urgency clouding his eye. Let us find a private space, away from the crowd. We need to discuss our next steps. They slipped through a side door and into a dimly lit hallway that led away from the main event. Mia leaned against the cool wall, feeling the weight of the world settle upon her shoulders. She wanted to be brave, to be the one who protected everyone, but doubt clawed at her insides. What if we can't stop him? She admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. What if he has all the power, and we're just us? Tom placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. That's the thing about power. It's not as absolute as it seems. He's a bully hiding behind a badge. We just need a plan. The hope in his eyes sparked something inside her. Okay. So what's our plan? As they began to strategize, Mia remembered the people they were fighting for, people who believed in change, in hope, in unity. But even as they plotted, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The stakes had never been higher. What if he decides to retaliate? She pondered aloud, a chill running down her spine. Tom's grip tightened. Then we'll be ready. We have the truth on our side. And we're not alone. But as they slipped back into the main event and the festive atmosphere washed over them, Mia couldn't help but feel that dark shadows were still lurking around every corner, waiting for their moment to strike. Tom's conviction didn't ease her fears completely. The night grew louder, and she knew that deeper challenges awaited them both. Who could she trust when danger was lurking? Then the music changed, and the lights dimmed. All eyes turned to the stage, where an unexpected figure stepped forward, microphone in hand. What news would this newcomer bring? Would it shatter the fragile hope that had just been rebuilt, or would it give them a reason to fight even harder? Mia's breath hitched in her throat as she caught sight of the newcomer on stage. The spotlight framed a young woman, barely in her 20s, with wavy brown hair that cascaded over her shoulders. She looked nervous, yet determined, clutching the microphone like it was her lifeline. Hello everyone, she started, her voice shaky but gaining confidence. I'm Kelly, the janitor's daughter. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Mia felt a flicker of recognition. She had seen Kelly helping out at the event, always with a smile, always present but never in the spotlight. I didn't plan on speaking tonight, Kelly continued, her blue eyes shining with a fierce light. But something needs to be said. I overheard some things about tonight. Things that don't feel right at all. Mia leaned in closer to Tom, their brows furrowing in unison. Was this what they feared? Or could this be a moment of unexpected support? Kelly took a deep breath, her gaze sweeping over the crowd. I know I'm just the janitor's daughter, but I've seen things in this building that I can't ignore any longer. I've seen people working behind the scenes to undermine this charity, people who want to profit from the darkness instead of donating to it. She paused, catching her breath, and for an instant, Mia saw the struggle in her eyes, the weight of responsibility that had prompted her to step forward. What do you mean? Someone shouted from the crowd, a mix of skepticism and curiosity murmur rippling through. I mean, I found things. Documents. Meetings scheduled at odd hours. Even phone calls made with people who have strange connections, Kelly said, her voice rising with urgency. The bodyguard is involved. Mia, you have to know his plans go beyond just scaring you. He wants to tear apart everything we've worked for here. The room went silent. Mia shared a quick glance with Tom, who wore a look of alarm and concern. They weren't alone in their fight. Kelly's words hung thick in the air, weaving through the crowd like a beacon of hope amidst uncertainty. The bodyguard's threat flashed back through Mia's mind. If he was indeed as dangerous as he claimed, then every piece of knowledge they could gather would be vital. They're planning something tonight, Kelly added, her voice rising above the whispers. I don't know exactly what, but I've heard enough to know that if you're all here celebrating, you're in real danger. We can't let them win. Mia's heart raced. Could this be the ally they needed? And how could they ever hope to fight back against something so massive? She felt the weight of responsibility settle again, heavier this time. The crowd began murmuring anxiously, some faces filled with confusion, others with fear. She could almost see the tension tightening like a coil, waiting to snap. Kelly, wait! Mia called out, stepping forward. It felt surreal, the spotlight now on her. Do you have proof? We need evidence to take action. Kelly nodded, a quick determination filling her features. Yes, I've saved everything. I'll share it with you right away. We can't waste any time. As Tom stepped forward to lend his support, the powerful bodyguard's words echoed in Mia's mind, this isn't just about tonight. It never was. The realization sunk in. They were standing at the crossroads of fate, with dangers rushing at them from the shadows. "Let us gather everyone together," Mia urged. "We need to act fast. Whatever they're planning, we have to confront it head-on." But as she turned back toward the stage, a flicker of movement in the corner of her eye caught her attention. The bodyguard was moving toward them again, and this time, the storm in his eyes looked ready to burst. What would happen next? Would their growing alliance withstand the storm that was surely coming? Would they uncover the truth before it was too late? Mia's heart pounded in her chest as the bodyguard advanced, his broad shoulders framed by the dim lights. She could feel the crowd's collective breath hitch, a mix of fear and anticipation hanging in the air. "Stay together," she whispered to Tom and Kelly, her voice steady despite the uncertainty swirling within her. Tom nodded, a flicker of resolve in his eyes, as Kelly gripped her notes tightly, knuckles whitening under the pressure. "What do you think you're doing, Kelly?" The bodyguard's voice boomed, equal parts sneer and threat. "You shouldn't be up there. This isn't your place. You're just a kid playing with fire." Kelly stood tall, her chin lifted. "No, it's about time someone spoke the truth. You think you can bully us into silence?" There was a lingering fight in her voice that lit a fire in Mia's chest. Mia found her own voice, piecing together her fears with the courage pooling inside her. "We're not afraid of you. You may intimidate people, but the truth stands stronger than your threats." That must have struck a nerve because the bodyguard took a step back, assessing them, the wheels in his mind clearly turning. "You have no idea what you're dealing with," he warned, his tone dropping as he leaned in closer, menace etched in every detail. "You think this is about this charity event? It's bigger than you imagine." The weight of his words dropped like a rock into the silence, rippling through the anxious audience. Mia glanced around, seeing varied expressions: fear, disbelief, and a dawning understanding. "I want to let you destroy what we've built here," Kelly said firmly, her conviction shining through the uncertainty. "All the work we've done for this community won't be undone by greed and lies." The crowd murmured in support, voices blending as they rallied around Kelly's unexpected strength. It sent a spark of hope through Mia, flashing brightly against the impending darkness, but the bodyguard's expression twisted into a snarl as he straightened, fully embracing his imposing presence. "Then you're making a grave mistake. Every minute you stay here, you're putting yourselves in danger." "Then we'll make sure the truth gets out before it's too late," Mia shot back, her confidence solid yet trembling underneath. She sensed that this would be the tipping point: either they moved forward together or risked losing everything. Suddenly, the lights in the hall flickered, dipping the room into a brief darkness. A collective gasp filled the air, then the lights flickered back to life, a chaotic tumble of sound and confusion. "That wasn't just a power flicker," Tom murmured, a knot forming in his stomach. "Get everyone out," Mia instructed. "Kelly, do you still have that information? We need to act now." "Yes. It's in the basement." "The files," Kelly started, panic creeping into her voice, almost lost in the rising tide of unrest. "Then let's go. We'll find the truth together," Mia urged, linking her arm with Kelly's. She could feel the adrenaline pumping through her veins as they pushed through the growing crowd, other charity members staring wide-eyed, but as they made their way to the back, the bodyguard suddenly gained ground, his dark eyes burning with fury. "You won't get away that easily. You think you can just expose me? I'll show you the true meaning of danger." Mia's heartbeat quickened. With every step, she knew they were racing against more than time. They were in the center of something far more dangerous than anyone had expected. Would they really uncover the truth hidden away, risking not just their future but their lives? They plunged into the basement doors, the air thick with uncertainty. Every instinct told her that they were about to step into a nest of darkness, but it was a risk they had to take. There was no turning back now. As Mia dared a final glance back at the stage, she could see the bodyguard's figure outlined in the light, a storm brewing behind his eyes. Whatever was coming next, she was ready to confront it head-on. What secrets were hidden in the dark below? Would they find the proof they needed in time, or would danger engulf them all? The basement door swung shut behind them, the thud echoing in the enclosed space, swallowing any remaining sounds from above. A damp chill seeped into the air, thick with the scent of dust and something stale. The walls felt like they were closing in around them. Mia's breath hitched. She took a moment to adjust to the dimness, straining to see anything beyond the faint glow of a single overhead light. "Which way?" she whispered urgently, her voice barely a murmur against the solid silence. "Right." Kelly seized Mia's arm and pulled her toward a narrow corridor that twisted deeper into the building. The files should be in the storage room at the end. Every footfall felt heavy, weighted with the looming threat of what might happen if they didn't find those files. Her heart raced as they moved quickly, Tom at their heels, casting glances over his shoulder as if the bodyguard might leap out from the shadows at any moment. "Why did you involve yourself in this?" Mia asked Kelly, desperation creeping into her tone. "You could have just stayed in the crowd." Kelly turned briefly, eyes fierce with determination. "Because it's not just about us anymore, Mia. It's about everyone who counts on this charity. They deserve to know the truth." She was right, but that didn't stop the fear twisting in Mia's gut. This whole situation felt like a tangled web. One misstep could lead to unraveling everything they fought for. They rounded the last corner and skidded to a halt in front of a heavy metal door, the rusted latch slightly ajar. "This is it," Kelly breathed, pushing it open with a slow creak that made Mia wince. Inside, the small room was cramped, shelves lined with boxes teetering precariously. Each box seemed to hold secrets, whispers of deceit. Mia stepped in, her eyes scanning the room urgently. "Where are the files?" "There." Kelly pointed to the far wall, where a stack of boxes sat. She rushed over, flinging open the first box she could reach. Papers spilled out, unorganized sheets that fluttered like desperate birds trying to escape. Tom hovered near the door, still vigilant. "We don't have much time," he said, anxiety punctuating his words. "We need to hurry." With shaking hands, Kelly began sifting through the contents. "I know they're here. They have to be." Each second felt like a minute, every sound amplified. The ticking clock in Mia's mind was relentless. Then, at last, Kelly froze, her fingers grasping a folder, its surface frayed and covered in dust. This has to be it." Mia grabbed the folder, opening it slowly. Inside were documents, financial statements, names, signatures, evidence of the bodyguard's dealings, and what looked like payoffs. The truth raw and damning. "Kelly, we need to get this to the police," Mia urged, her heart racing not only with fear but with exhilarating hope. "We can't let them stop us now." But just as she spoke, a loud thud reverberated from the hallway. The bodyguard's voice sliced through the air, low and menacing. "You'll regret this. You won't escape." Mia's heart lodged in her throat. "We have to go now." They turned to rush out, but before they could bolt through the door, it swung open violently, revealing the bodyguard. His body glimmered in the overhead light, a looming presence bursting with wrath. "Thought you could run away with the evidence? You're making a grave mistake," he snarled, stepping closer, blocking their only exit. Mia's pulse quickened, dread pooling in her stomach. There was no more time for hesitation. "Get ready to move," she shouted as she grabbed Kelly's arm, but her heart pounded louder than ever. What would they do now? The truth was right in their hands, but the threat was real, and the next moment could change everything. As the bodyguard closed in, Mia realized this was just the beginning. They had to outwit him to see this through, but could they? Mia took a deep breath, dragging Kelly along with her. There was no way they were going to let this be the end. "We're not going down without a fight," she declared, her voice louder than it felt. The bodyguard moved towards them, but Mia glanced at the shelves piled high with boxes, then back at the bodyguard. She had a plan, wild and reckless as it seemed. "Tom, distract him," she yelled. Tom didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, his presence a solid shield. Hey! Over here! He shouted, waving his hands, eyes darting. The bodyguard's attention snapped to Tom, giving Mia just the opening they needed. Now! Mia urged, and they dashed to the side, sweeping past stacks of boxes, their hearts hammering in sync. Kelly's breath came in sharp bursts as she stumbled slightly. Where are we going? Just keep moving. Mia replied, adrenaline coursing through her veins. They veered towards a narrow gap at the back, a winding space that could lead them to another exit. We might have a way out through here. Kelly cried, eyes wide as they squeezed through. The bodyguard's furious shouts chased them, echoing against the concrete walls. They darted around the corner, plunging into the dark corridor that lay ahead. The air felt colder now, heavier with anticipation. They finally skidded to a halt in a small, dimly lit room. Glass doors lined one wall, giving them a view of the outside, freedom just a breath away. But the bodyguard's footsteps pounded closer, and they knew they couldn't just wait here. Mia scanned the room desperately for anything that could help. We need to barricade the door, she said, rushing toward an old metal shelf. She shoved it against the door just as the bodyguard slammed into it. The door rattled and Mia's stomach dropped. Come on! Kelly cried, grabbing papers scattered on the floor, the remnants of some old storage. We can't lose those. No time. Mia countered, eyes wide as fear chased logic from her mind. The bodyguard was grunting, slamming against the door with angry force. They hadn't lost, not yet. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted. The bodyguard was breaking through. Mia felt her heart sink, panic surged through her as she searched for anything else they could use. This way! She yelled, grabbing Kelly's arm and dragging her towards an emergency exit at the far side of the room, but just as they reached the door, another violent blow sent the shelf crashing against the wall, and the bodyguard was through, fury etched on his face. Stop! You want to get away! He bellowed, just as Mia yanked the emergency exit open. Bright light flooded their vision, illuminating the dark room, a ray of hope cutting through their fear. Run! She shouted, launching out into the sunlight, senses alive with urgency. The parking lot spread out before them, but the bodyguard was hot on their heels. Mia and Kelly raced towards Tom, who stood poised beside the car, desperation mingling with courage on his face. Get in! Now! He yelled, throwing open the back door. For a moment, everything slowed. Mia's legs pumped like pistons, each step harder than the last, but freedom felt almost tangible. The weight of the folder tucked against her was a reminder of what they were fighting for. Just as they dove into the back seat, the bodyguard lunged, his hand grazing Mia's shoulder. She shrieked, the chill of fear enveloping her. Drive! She cried to Tom, her voice raw. The car roared to life, tires screeching on the asphalt, the bodyguard fading into the distance as they peeled out of the parking lot. They were alive, but the battle wasn't over. The documents in her hands felt heavier now, the truth haunting and bursting with consequences. Mia's mind raced. They had escaped, but was it enough? What if he came for them again? We can't just run, she said, panic threading her words. We need to make sure this makes it to the police. He'll come after us. Kelly's nod was grim but determined. Then we need to find a safe place to regroup. We can't let him drown us out. Tom's eyes darted between them, filled with resolve. I know just the guy who can help. But we need to move. Fast. Mia's heart beat harder than ever. They had the truth, but it seemed that with it came an even greater danger. What they had discovered could change everything, but now, in the safety of the car, the weight of their reality pressed down even harder. Would the truth succeed, or would they run out of time? That wasn't merely a question anymore, it was a race against fate. The car sped through the streets, the wind whipping through the open windows, filling their lungs with the rush of adrenaline. Mia's heart was still pounding in her chest, each beat sounding like a war drum. The pounding fear had turned into a fierce determination to make their escape count. Where are we heading? Kelly asked, her voice slightly shaky. Just trust me, Tom replied, his jaw set. He drove with urgency, glancing into the rearview mirror. We have to shake him off first. Then I'll take you to my buddy. Is he safe? Mia asked, the worry threading through her voice. 100%, Tom assured her, gripping the wheel tighter. He's been in our corner before. He knows how to handle situations like this. Mia glanced back, a jolt of fear shooting through her as she imagined the bodyguard's face, his eyes cold and relentless. Fighting back the rising tide of dread, she tightened her grip on the folder she had snatched. The contents lay heavy in her hands, filled with whispers of injustice that could destroy lives if left in the wrong hands. What's in those papers? Kelly's question broke her train of thought. Everything, Mia answered, her voice a mix of certainty and fear. The evidence we found, it's proof. Proof of what he's been doing. It's bigger than us. He shouldn't get away with it. Then we can't let him get to you first, Kelly asserted, her eyes narrowing with resolve. Mia nodded, feeling a wave of warmth wash over her. They were in this together, bound by a desperate need for justice. Tom zipped through an intersection, narrowly avoiding a sedan. I think we're in the clear. But let us not waste any time, he called out. As they drove further, the scenery shifted from bustling city streets to quieter suburban lanes. The tension inside the car felt like a taut string ready to snap. Mia glimpsed at the folder, reminded again of what was at stake. This was not just about them, it was about countless lives affected by one man's greed. Finally, Tom pulled into a driveway. This is it, he announced, parking next to a beat-up old truck. He quickly hopped out, motioning for them to follow. The building looked unassuming, a washed-out bungalow edged by untamed grass. Stay close, and keep your heads down. As they stepped out of the car, Mia felt a shiver run down her spine. The vulnerability of their situation washed over her. They were exposed, raw, out in the open where at any moment the bodyguard could find them. Inside, Tom led them down a dim hallway. The air smelled like dust and old newspapers, the walls lined with family photos. It all felt so domestic, so safe, yet a gnawing anxiety lingered. Wait here, Tom said, disappearing behind a door. Mia clutched the folder tightly, while Kelly paced, restless energy radiating off her. What if he finds us? Kelly whispered, her voice barely audible. He won't, Mia replied, trying to infuse strength into her words. We're safe for now. Just then, Tom returned with a middle-aged man, his hair cut close and a thick beard framing a serious expression. This is Greg. He is someone you can trust. Did you bring the documents? Greg asked, his eyes locking onto Mia's with an intensity that made her stomach twist. Yeah, she said, handing over the folder. But you need to understand what's at stake. Greg flipped through the pages, his brow furrowing deeper with every line he read. You're right to be afraid this could change everything. But you can't stay here. This is bigger than any of us. Mia felt her stomach drop again. What do you mean? We need to get this to the police today, Greg said, looking up sharply. Or he will come for you. And when he does, it won't be pretty. Mia felt a pit in her stomach. The reality of their situation was crashing down on her. So we're back where we started, aren't we? Only now we have a target on our backs. Kelly's expression heightened, brimming with anxiety. And just then, a loud crash echoed from the front of the house, shattering any sense of security they had hoped to find. Everyone, stay quiet. Greg instructed, moving toward the sound. Determination in his eyes. Mia's heart raced again. Had the bodyguard found them so soon? They had to decide, would they fight to protect what they had, or would they run again, thrusting themselves deeper into chaos? And in that moment, as fear gripped her again, another undeniable truth emerged. Was it worth the risk to expose the truth? Or would they be digging their own graves? Mia stood frozen, the weight of the folder heavy in her hands as panic coursed through her veins. The crash from the front of the house sounded like a battle cry, raw and feral. "We need to get somewhere safe." Her voice trembled, but adrenaline surged through her as she tried to focus on the danger around them. "Follow me." Greg's calm authority broke through her tumult of thoughts. He motioned for them to move toward a back door leading into a secluded yard. Tom, ever vigilant, ushered them forward. They slipped outside, the cool air a stark contrast to the storm inside. Mia's breath mixed with fear and urgency. "What if he throws everything he has at us?" she whispered to Kelly, her heart racing with every step. "We push forward," Kelly replied fiercely. "We can't back down now, not when we have the evidence." They huddled together, Greg's voice steady as he assessed the situation. "Listen carefully, we have to get to my vehicle without being detected. If he's already found us, every moment counts. We need to get this evidence to the police." Mia felt a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. They were still in the fight, still alive to her, that meant there was still a chance, but as they crept toward the back of the house, the unmistakable gargantuan figure of the bodyguard's shadow loomed closer, dark like an approaching storm. "What do we do?" Mia whispered urgently. "Stick together, but be quick," Tom instructed. "We can't let him corner us." As they reached the edge of the yard, Mia felt a rush of exhilaration, as if the sunlight held the promise of safety just beyond that fence. But as they reached it, a loud crash followed by a shout echoed behind them. "Don't let them get away." The urgency turned into frantic energy. They jumped over the fence, heartbeats racing like athletes at the starting gun. Each leap took them further from the darkness and deeper into the unknown. They sprinted across the neighboring yard, the scent of grass and decay mixing with the metallic tang of adrenaline. Nearby, an older couple out gardening looked up, confused, as three young hearts raced past. The escape was surreal, like a scene from an action movie. They merged with the shadows, occasionally glancing back, fear sparking their pace. The thud of footsteps didn't seem far behind. "No. Don't stop," Greg urged, keeping them focused. Each step seemed to ignite fire within Mia, a resolve forming like steel in her spine. They ducked into an alley, breathless and panting. "Where's your car?" Mia panted, desperate for their next move. "It's just around the corner by the warehouse." Tom pointed. They pressed onward, the sound of their breaths mingling with the whispers of possibility. Hope surged inside Mia. They could do this. They had to. With one last sprint, they darted toward the warehouse, when suddenly, they heard the clicking of footsteps behind them, a low, menacing growl that halted them in place. The bodyguard emerged from the alley, his demeanor fierce. "Running away now? That won't save you." Mia's heart sunk. The walls felt like they were closing in, but there wasn't time to dwell. "We can't let him stop us," she shouted at Tom and Kelly. "We have to fight." "Let him have it, Mia," Kelly asserted, unyielding. "We've come too far to back down now." In sync, they turned to face their adversary. It was time. Their hearts beat as one, rising to combat an unseen threat. Greg stepped in front, a shield against fear embodied. "You're outnumbered now. We know what you've been doing." His voice echoed with strength, igniting courage in Mia's heart. The bodyguard's face twisted with fury, but before he could strike, Tom piped up. "You can't intimidate us anymore. The truth is out, and it's going to destroy you." The bodyguard hesitated. "You think this is a game? I've built my empire on people like you. You're nobody." "Maybe," Mia interjected, her words swelling with newfound vitality. "But every nobody can become a somebody when they fight for what's right." The weight of the truth hung in the air like a challenge, electrifying her words. In that defining moment, the ground shifted. There was power in unity, strength in vulnerability. The bodyguard's bravado faltered as the collective courage loomed brightly before him. "Enough!" he roared. You think you're invincible. But as he lunged, Mia darted to the side, Kelly following suit. They had each other's backs, united in purpose. Tom intercepted, sending a fist aimed at the bodyguard's gut, landing a blow that sent a shockwave through Mia, but it was just the beginning. The tide turned, as adrenaline fueled a fierce cohesion. As the bodyguard stumbled, they seized the moment. Now! Greg shouted, signaling them to push forward, overpowering the threat that in a whirlwind of motion. Mia found her power alongside her friends. Each heartbeat echoed an anthem of justice, vibrating with intention. They were not there to back down, they were there to claim their truth. The bodyguard fell back, grappling with resistance. That was when Mia noticed the door of a nearby police car parked in the alley, unoccupied but beckoning like salvation. "Help is here!" Mia shouted, her voice ringing into the night. "We have proof inside." That galvanized their resolve. "To the car! Now!" Tom shouted, his voice powerful, leading the charge in their blind rush. As they reached the cruiser, Mia turned, adrenaline coursing through her. The bodyguard pushed against the last barrier of defense, a fierce storm trying to stall them. But armed with the truth, they too were a tempest. Once inside, Tom raced to the driver's seat as Mia swung open the folder. "It's all here," she exclaimed, the evidence glistening with hope. "This is what we've fought for. Let us stop him." In those frantic moments, the world outside blended into chaotic noise. The police car became their sanctuary, each breath reconstructed with purpose. It was time to expose the darkness. Before they could lock the door completely, the bodyguard charged forward once more, but as he lunged to grab it, shoulders collided against the weight of the fight. "No!" Mia shouted out, urgency paling against warmth, her voice a call to justice. As Tom seized the steering wheel, he pressed hard on the gas. The car shot forward, leaving apprehension in its wake. The truth was now their weapon, the fight for justice looming closer than ever. As they sped towards safety, Mia understood the fight was just beginning, but together, they were unstoppable. The shadows may chase them, but they would illuminate the path ahead with defiance. In the end, together they could change this world, not just for themselves, but for all those who believed in the power of hope and truth. As they raced away from the threat, Mia held onto the folder tightly. This moment was a seed for change. They were ready for whatever came next, because some stories don't end. They transform into something beautiful, something worth fighting for. Victory was just within reach. Don't forget, now is the time to subscribe immediately to the channel if you want to see the continuation of this inspiring journey. Leave a like right now because it truly helps feed the algorithm and spread the message of courage. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this incredible transformation, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this power. Your support matters. You are a crucial part of this story.